So as you continue to develop your talents and to make your mark upon the world, remember that nothing worth doing is ever easy. You'll have bad moments. You gotta love what you're doing. And if you don't, just do something else. Keep standing up always for your values. Keep loving your country. And one of the most important things, never, ever quit. Never quit. Then ask yourself, what imprint will you leave in the sands of history? What will future Americans say we did in our brief time right here on Earth? Did we take risks? Did we dare to defy expectations? Did we challenge accepted wisdom and take on established systems? In my short time in Washington, I've seen firsthand how the system is broken. A small group of failed voices who think they know everything and understand everyone want to tell everybody else how to live and what to do and how to think. But you aren't going to let other people tell you what you believe, especially when you know that you're right. I know that each of you will be a warrior for the truth. You'll be a warrior for our country and for your family. I know that each of you will do what is right, not what is the easy way, and that you will be true to yourself and your country and your beliefs. Remember this, nothing worth doing ever came easy. Following your convictions means you must be willing to face criticism from those who lack courage or the guts or the stamina to take it and to do it. It's called the road less traveled.
All right, good evening, Patriots. Welcome to your third episode of Grassroots Live with me, Alchemist Zach, and Eddie Mike as our lovely producer. This week we're going to be going over one of the greatest resources I think that we have, the Green Papers, which we'll do a quick run through of it. Then we'll go over some of the information that I've compiled based off of just my specific situation and location. And then we'll go over a couple videos to break down some of your local policy, some of your local positions in your county, who's doing what powers do they have, how do they get there, and who can corral them if they get out of hand. And so tonight, once again, with our third installment, we're really just going to be going over the basics, motivating everybody to try to get involved, get educated, and really create a red wave coming up here in a couple weeks. Elections 22 days away. We got a couple different speakers tonight going to be doing some reading. With the end of the show, we're going to have CrewdAwakening come up and give a quick breakdown of her experiences local. First, though, I do want to give a huge shout out to the MG show. Those guys have brought us here every day to learn and save the world. They give us some of the best resources, best environment, and best attitude to do it with. I can't say that I can say I would never have made it here without the MG show. I'm sure I would be out there somewhere, but I don't know where. So huge thanks to Jeff and Shannon for all their hard work every day and all the wonderful mods here. Once again, Eddie Mike's got us on the slides. We're going to get over to, I believe, the Green Papers. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up a couple things. Just make sure I'm on the right. And we did have a couple technical issues earlier, so we were working some of that stuff out. We did get started just a little bit late. So, yeah, we're going to start out with thegreenpapers.com, www www.greenpapers.com. And I thank you, Eddie, Mike. So what we have here is going to be a compilation of all of your resources. So this not only tracks the dates of your elections going forward, you can literally click on your state, your county, every election, every position is all gathered here for your ease. And it's humongous just to be able to hop on, see who's up. I can quickly go and Google their names for the race a year from now and see how I can contribute, how I can get involved with them. There's just a ton of information on this simple website. And there's obviously a big reason that we're not so guided to it. This thing can change a lot of how we walk into the situations. So what we have is just pulled up the website, thegreenpapers.com. And, we're just starting at the top, midterm election USA 2022. We were blogging before it was cool, established during the previous millennium. Federal and statewide offices, 22 days until Tuesday, 8th November, general election, 36 days. And you'll just see all these little tidbits. But we're going to scroll on through. This is going to be a quick intro because, guys, I want you all to use this. Homework for the next week will be taking this website, getting your bylaws, county, town, positions, who's doing what, and we can try to work out to see who's going to be filling in those positions in the future. So we're going to scroll down to the mission statement. And so, welcome. This site is dedicated to the dissemination of facts, figures, tidbits, and commentary. In fact, information of many different kinds, related primarily to the American political process. We sincerely hope you very easily find the kind of information you are looking for here, perhaps even information all gathered here in one place you might not so easily find anywhere else. All right, so then we have in the big white box, this is where I'm doing a lot of my work from right now, 2022 general elections for governors, U.S. Senate, and U.S. House. We'll go down to my state, Virginia, and we'll just go ahead and click on the state, VA. What that's going to do is pull up my specific states reps, who's running, when, what their affiliations are. So, Eddie, Mike, if we'll scroll on down through this, and this is we'll just give you a quick idea of the content. And we were going to skip on down to the very bottom, but I think we should scroll through, Eddie, Mike, if you don't mind. And this is just going to be showing you who's standing where in the upcoming races. And we'll skip on down to the bottom, Eddie, Mike, as we're breezing right through. But this also has a lot of your good resources attached. So if you're looking to just have a quick evening where you can go through some of your county, township, charter, bylaws, state bylaws, your state constitution, all of that stuff is going to be located here. If you're just wanting to get a glance while you're on the walks, doing some of your walk book, and try to get a little bit of information to sway somebody you're talking to, you're registering to vote. This is also a quick guide for all of that. Instead of having to type in Google every position, every date, it's really nice just to have something on hand. So I really suggest the green papers for everybody. Get to know it, get to use it a lot. We'll probably be referencing it quite a bit over the next couple months. And I'm going to give Eddie Mike just a second to get down to the bottom. And then we're just going to hop into a little bit of the more difficult information. So we got a couple readers tonight to mix it up. And I think that's going to make it, a little less monotonous. So right here is where we're going to really start getting into some of the meat of stuff. So we have links to our Constitution, Virginia Law Code, Constitution Administration, our Administrative Regulations, Acts, and Charters, Election Authority. And a lot of this information is specific to my state. So if you were to go to yours, you're going to find a lot of other links to different media, different groups. So this is super important to start getting through all of this stuff. So we're going to choose the first option under the Constitution, the Virginia Law Code, Constitution, Administrative Regulations, Acts, and Charters. All righty. Thank you, Eddie Mike. And so what this has done, this is a link to the generalassembly.gov, Virginia's generalassembly.gov. So if you'll look here, I have links to my state's constitution, to the Code of Virginia, the Virginia Administrative Code, regulations, Virginia's Register of Regulations, the Acts of Assembly, and the charters and authorities. So I took information from Virginia's Constitution. That's what we're going to be going over in the first few slides tonight. The Code of Virginia, a little bit of information from there, and then a whole lot of information tonight came from the charters and authorities. Everybody, I suggest taking the time. If you haven't been through this stuff, this is a good resource to learn how your town is electing its officials and what you can do if you were in those positions to kind of have a little bit more power than they do. So, because they're not using their power correctly. They're misunderstanding what their jobs are. They're misunderstanding who's working for them and what to be doing for the people. So when we're in the positions that they're in, we should be able to do a lot of good things for the people using these rules, using their guidelines. All right, Eddie Mike, I think we've got a quick breakdown, and we're going to switch on over to the slides. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how we got the information. Greenpapers.com, please get familiar with it and get some of the information together. I'd love to go over it with you guys and learn a little bit about where you are and how it's designed and differs from my state. So for tonight's slides, I'm going to start off with the intro. We got the Constitution of Virginia, the Bill of Rights, and the Town of Wytheville, Virginia Charter. So again, we're going to bring on a couple different speakers to add a little flavor to the show. We have actually, we're going to play a movie, a quick video. Eddie Mike, what are your thoughts? Are you able to pull up the videos, good sir?
I believe so. We can try that.
Yeah, I think before we get the people into a whole bunch of lovely reading, let's watch a quick video. I think it's the other one, though. Do you have it pulled up, good sir? And what this one's going to be just a breakdown of some of the information that we're going to be going over. Some of the bigger levels, though, this isn't going to get down to the town level. This is going to keep it a little bit higher. But again, we're just all trying to learn up on some of the processes. So thank you guys for your patience tonight. Thank you all for being here. And we are doing it live. We have the best producer in the world other than Wet Yeti. He is the best.
Hey folks, and welcome back to Bridgetown Abridged. The different levels of local government can be a lot to unpack. There's a ton of them, they can be very different, and there's not a lot of people jumping in to help break it all down. In the United States, there's over 89,000 local governmental units, which is a nice, small, manageable number. Luckily, they break down into 4 categories, so let's give them each a quick rundown. With a few exceptions, everyone in the United States is represented by a county government. If you think of local government kind of like a house, the county is like the property that the house sits on. It has clear geographical boundaries, those boundaries always touch up against other properties, and regardless of where in that property someone lives, they're still responsible for the entire property. Now, some states are too cool to call them counties, so in Alaska they're called boroughs, and in Louisiana they're called parishes. So cool. And some states are too cool to have their counties do anything beyond being used for census data, like in New England, where Connecticut, Rhode Island, and parts of Massachusetts have eliminated their county governments altogether, mostly in favor of the township model that I'm going to be discussing next. In Alaska, they're so cool that there's a region called the Unorganized Borough, which has no county-level government and is larger than 162 countries. Take that, every country smaller than Pakistan. Of course, there's a lot more to unpack there, but luckily they've got a lot of room. In addition to states neutering their counties, there's also some cities that have gone all Game of Thrones on their county governments, like independent cities which have broken free from their counties and have no county government, and consolidated counties where the county-level government has fused with the city government to become a single government which has the powers of both a county and a city under state law. Now, political power at the county varies by an enormous degree. Except in those few states with no county governments, essentially all counties provide at least judicial court systems and law enforcement. I'm sure we've all heard reference to county jails and county courts. Many states give their counties more powers than this, like public utilities, libraries, hospitals, public health services, parks, and roads, for instance. At the other end of the extreme, from states with no or limited county governments, there are some more populated counties that can provide things like public housing, zoos, museums, and even food safety regulations. Municipalities and townships can be fairly similar, which is why I'm going to talk about them at the same time. They're also the form of local government that I would bet we are all the most familiar with, since most people live in towns or cities. There are over 35,000 municipal or township governments in the United States, so they make up between 1/3 and 1/2 of all local governments. If a county is like the property, then they're like the house on that property. They're usually more complicated, and they're usually built around where the people actually live. The main difference between municipalities and township governments is whether or not they're focused around a population center or not. Municipal governments exist to serve the needs of the people who live in a concentrated area, while townships generally exist to serve a kind of dual purpose similar to that of a county, namely a geographic area rather than a population-focused one. Townships exist in 20 states and can also be referred to just as towns, while municipal governments can refer to cities, villages, hamlets, boroughs, except in Alaska, and towns in 30 states, which I know is super confusing. The roles and responsibilities of municipalities and townships vary so much from state to state that it's pretty hard to generalize about either of them. For the most part, though, they mostly control things like zoning and local agencies such as police and fire departments, and fund themselves primarily through property taxes, which is about as specific as I can get while still being accurate. Here we come to our final and also least defined category, special purpose districts. Our metaphor about the house breaks down a little bit here, but they're kind of like the garden or the reading nook in your living room, an area that's defined because there's a need for a special purpose, hence the name. There are two types of special purpose districts, school districts and special districts. Thanks, U.S. Census Bureau, really doing us a solid there. School districts are somewhat self-explanatory. These are districts that exist to provide primary and secondary schooling. In every state except for Virginia, they can levy taxes, and in some states, they're completely independent from the other forms of government, while in some, they're completely dependent on either county or municipal governments. When it comes to the special districts, we get to the sort of potpourri section, if you will. These governments are all over the place and can vary incredibly in size, function, and form. For example, there are cemetery districts, ambulatory districts, port authorities, library districts, and even mosquito control districts. That's right, there are formal governments in the US dedicated solely to controlling mosquito populations, just as the founders would have wanted it. Some of them have elected officials, and some of them are appointed, some can levy taxes, and many can't. They're really all over the board, and they can even vary heavily in quantity by state, with Alaska having 15 and Illinois having over 3,200 of them. Overall, there are more than 39,000 of these types of districts, meaning that they make up close to half of all local governments, so it really pays to know which special districts apply to you. In review, there are 4 forms of local government: municipalities, which are small governments focused on a population center; townships, which are similar to municipalities but focus on a small region; counties, which are to completely divide up the land in each state into governed pieces; and special purpose districts that are made up of school districts and special districts focusing on serving a single purpose to a given region of people. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Bridgetown Abridged. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like or share the video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, you can hit that subscribe button down there or go to my channel to check out my other videos. And if there's a video you'd like to see me make in the future, throw a comment down there. I'd love to take suggestions. Thanks, and have a great day.
All right, so that was pretty fun. The video that we got at towards the end of the night, it's going to be a little bit more upbeat, and that guy does a really good job.
Welcome tonight to American Government 101. So tonight, this kind of sprang out of just a lot of questions people were having about what the government can actually do and how.
All right. So yeah, the video that we're going to be playing a little bit towards the end of the night is going to have a little bit more entertaining content. So we started out the night with that one, and the reason is it's in tough information, boring information. So we bring in speakers to kind of make it a little bit more fun. We're going to try to do that. But everybody, please, we want your feedback. We're going to be adjusting the show every week going forward. Today, on this show, we have a lot of information that's going to be displayed on your screens. So if you're on a smartphone or if you know how to do a screen capture on your computer and you don't want to use the PDF, we will also be providing you with the PDF. but you can screen capture all of the pages that we'll be going through, the slides. That would be a good way to kind of have that information stored. But going forward, we're going to try to be providing images instead of all these words. So feedback, we really are designing the show kind of from the ground up, grassroots. So all of you wonderful participants are kind of what makes it. And your information on what you like, what you don't like, what's effective, what works for you and doesn't, let us know. We want all that good stuff. That's going to make us. I love you, Jeff. That's going to make the product that much better for everybody. So we're going to have some people come on and do a little bit of reading. And again, this is just information based off of my state, Virginia. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different on the state level. Once we get down to the town level, you're really going to see a lot of difference between what my town does and what your town does. So it's going to be good for everybody to use that green papers, go back, reference it, reach out to others. Let's kick around some things that are working in our area and some things that aren't working. So for the first speaker tonight, we have our lovely Stella. Stella, are you out there, dear?
I'm here.
Oh,
Can you
you're
hear
amazing.
me?
So good. You are so amazing, dear. What do you think? And you ready to do some reading for all of us?
Sure.
We love you,
You
dear.
want me to
Whenever
start
you're
right
ready.
now? I'm ready. Okay. Section 1. Equality and rights of men. That all men are by nature equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which when they enter into a state of society, they cannot by any compact deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. Section 2. People, the source of power. That all power is vested in and consequently derived from the people, that magistrates are their trustees and servants, and at all times amendable to them. Is that it? Or do you want me to read the bottom?
Yeah, if you will, read the definitions, please.
Magistrate. In the federal court system, magistrates are judges appointed by the district judges of the court to assist the district court judges. Federal magistrates can issue warrants, conduct preliminary proceedings in such as arrangements, and handle pretrial motions such as motions to suppress. Federal magistrates may generally not, however, rule on dispositive matters such as granting motions for summary judgment.
Oh my gosh, Stella, you did so good, dear. And Eddie, Mike, I think we'll take just a second. This is Virginia's Constitution and the bill, Article 1's Bill of Rights of my state. And so this sounds really similar to, the U.S. Constitution, and this is pretty much adaptation for my particular state. Again, same concept, maybe a little different wording along the ways. But by the end of the show, some of the information that we're going to be going over is going to start ringing that little bell in your brain going, that's not right. That doesn't make any sense. And so, you get the feel of our Constitution here at the beginning. And we'll see where everybody is at the end of the night. That was awesome, Stella. Great job, dear. Eddie, Mike, I think we'll scroll on over to the next slide, if you don't mind, sir. And Stella, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Section 3. Government Institute for Common Benefit. The government is, or ought to be, instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of people, nation, or community. Of all the various modes and forms of government, that is best which is capable of producing the greatest degree of happiness and safety, and is most effectually secure against the danger of maladministration. And whenever any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes, a majority of the community hath an indubitable, inalienable, and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public weal.
That was outstanding, Stella. And that last word, public will, we looked it up earlier. I was going to put the definition on here, but I didn't get to that. I forgot. And that is the health of the government. So the health of your community, the health of your public township, charter government. However, that's just a way of saying your local community and who's kind of managing all that. All righty, Eddie Mike. Again, this one's pretty basic. This is stuff we've all kind of heard a lot before, but it's awesome refreshers. And, we do need to be paying attention to our Bill of Rights in our states and learning them and if there are any differences. So we got the third slide here. I think you maybe went over. Yeah, right here, Eddie Mike. Yeah. And Miss Stella, whenever you are ready, dear.
Okay. Section 5, separation of legislative, executive, and judicial departments, periodical elections. The legislative, executive, and judicial departments of the Commonwealth should be separated and distinct, and that the members thereof may be restrained from oppression by failing and participating the burdens of people. They should at fixed periods be reduced to a private station, return into the body from which they were originally taken, and the vacancies be supplied by regular elections in which all or any part of the former members shall be aligned, eligible or ineligible, as the laws may direct. Brethren, noun, older form of burden.
That was wonderful, Miss Stella. And if we're looking at this, the legislative, executive, and judicial departments of the Commonwealth, separate and distinct, really, you do start to wonder how things have gotten so drastically separated from this ideology. And we're going to be going through the classes, over time. We'll start to uncover some of those ways they adapted from this basic concept to this overburdening government that we have now. Great information, Eddie Mike. I am ready whenever you are. We're going to go on to our next speaker, Stella. You did so amazing, dear, and we're so grateful you're here with us every day. We love you, Stella. And we have Duffer March coming in with the Article 1 Bill of Rights, Section 6. Duffer March, are you there, dear?
Yeah, I'm here.
Wonderful. Whenever you are ready, take your time.
This stuff is so boring, Zach. I'm telling you, I've read Dina's or Fed Up's and mine. They make it impossible. Anyways, I'll read. I won't complain yet. Section 6. Free elections, consent of the governed. That all elections ought to be free, and that all men having sufficient evidence of permanent common interest with and attachment to the community have the right of suffrage and cannot be taxed or deprived of or damaged in their property for public uses without their own consent, or that of their representatives duly elected or bound by law, to which they have not, in like manner, assented for the public good.
And does anybody feel that way right now?
No.
I had to close my mic so I could laugh.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you do start reading them, you're like, we're not doing that, no.
That Duffer. Yeah. And guys, this is all good information. We gotta get back to it as well, back to the foundation. We have to learn the foundation, how it's been altered. Then we can really start to overcome some of it. But that was awesome. And Eddie Mike, I think we're ready to move on to the next one, sir. All right. So now we're going to be getting into a little bit more of my local stuff, the town of Withfield, Virginia charter. This is from that same greenpapers.com. So when you scroll down to the white box with all the states, abbreviations in it. You just pick on your state, scroll down to the links at the bottom, and this was under the first link, the Constitution. Once I went from there, I pulled up, and I was actually able to search my county and my town, and I pulled up everything on my town, which was just super handy to have. I mean, they really did a great job with the Green Papers website, guys. I hope everybody starts taking advantage of that. And we still have Miss Duffer March on the queue. Miss Duffer, whenever you're ready.
Okay, the town of Wytheville, Virginia charter, originally Evesham and changed to Wytheville in 1839. The inhabitants of the territory embraced within the present limits of the town of Wytheville in Wythe County, Virginia, as hereinafter defined, or as the same may be hereinafter altered and established by law, shall constitute and continue a body politic and corporate, to be known as and designated as the town of Wytheville, and as such have and may exercise all powers which are now or may hereafter be conferred upon or delegated to towns under the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, as fully and as completely as those said powers were specifically enumerated herein, and no enumeration of particular powers herein shall be held to be exclusive. The territory embraced within the present limits of the town of Wytheville is described by metes and bounds in an act approved February 26, 1896, as follows. Detailed description of boundaries. So a meet, it's a noun, and it's a boundary line or limit. And just a lot of towns and counties, they don't use that anymore. Just saying.
Yeah, and the description too, it would have taken up like 3 more slides for how back in the day they described what the town limits were. It was hilarious. It's not accurate at all. It's really just like down by that one tractor that broke down in 1743. We know the Johnsons buried old Tom down. It's crazy, man, to see how they manage stuff back in the day. So here we're kind of going over the idea, that my town can bring in law, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But everything goes back to state and constitution. So, the town here may set up some policy. James. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to mute you, sir. But so everything will always kind of refer back to the overseeing constitution and state law, state constitution. So the town can make policy, but it really can't go against, the basis, the foundation of our constitutions. Again, very basic stuff. And Eddie, Mike, I think we'll move on. And James, I didn't mean to mute you, sir, but I think.
Yeah, well, I've got to go to the PDF so I can see a larger print. So I was working in that, had the mic on. So I'm going to the larger print. I'm going to the page.
You're a good
man,
man,
The town of Wytheville. Yes, sir. Thank you. The town of Wytheville, Virginia charter. The mayor of the town.
Second, sir. I think you're one slide ahead of us, James.
Oh, am I?
We are. Yep, you are, sir. We are on slide 7, and our lovely Duffer March is going to finish this round up. You, sir, are on the next run. Dude, you're ahead of the game, and I love it. Do you love it? But,
yes,
yeah,
sir.
Just give us one, brother.
Yeah, got it.
And Ms. Duffer March, if you want to finish up slide 7, the town of Wytheville, Virginia charter. And James, you can mute your mic, sir, until she gets this one finished, please.
As soon as I get this back. Can you do that for me?
It would be an honor.
Thank you.
Okay. So the government of the town of Wytheville shall be vested in one body to be known as the Council of the Town of Wytheville, which body shall consist of 5 members, one of whom shall also be mayor, to be elected at large, and all of whom shall be residents and qualified voters of the town. The council shall be elected in a manner provided by law as follows. At a regular municipal election to be held on the first Tuesday in May 1976, and every 4 years thereafter, 2 councilmen shall be elected, each for a term of 4 years, beginning on the first day of July, next following their election. At the regular municipal election to be held on the first Tuesday in May 1978, and every 4 years thereafter, 2 councilmen should be elected for a term of 4 years, and 1 additional councilman shall be individually elected to serve for a term of 4 years as both councilman and mayor of the town of Wytheville. The term of each of the 3 beginning on the first day of July next following their election. Each councilman shall serve until his successor have been elected and qualified.
Yep. And in a small community like mine, that is almost infinite power. These 5 people do not have a whole lot of community oversight. So the people aren't showing up to the meetings. And if you'll pay attention, each councilman shall serve until his successor shall have been elected and qualified. So, I mean, it really can go on. We have people sitting up in seats. One that was just replaced here probably 6 months ago. He wasn't very involved. How about that? He would fall asleep at meetings and stuff. It was pretty bad. So these guys, they're just not contested. You know, they get up in these positions. The community's not challenging them on their bad votes, bad policies, inefficiencies, and there's nobody to run against them. My mayor is doing a pretty bad job herself, and she is uncontested this year. So guess what? She's won. It's where we have to start. I mean, and these are 5 simple positions, not full time. It takes a little bit of time. Every one of you all here could sit on any one of those seats on my board of supervisors and have a humongous impact on the community and its policies. So I hope everybody considers these positions. This is one of the bigger ones, and I really didn't understand it at the time when I was doing this. So I think that knowing now their capabilities, who's holding them accountable and all that, there really isn't a lot. And so once I obtain one of those seats, I think it really will make a huge difference having somebody up there that is pushing the gun all day. That's what I want to do. So, Eddie Mike, I think you did an outstanding job, producer. Duffer March, you are so wonderful, and thank you for the little commentary. We love you so much, dear. Thank you for reading tonight. And James, who is at the head of the pack. Let's see, sir. Are you ready? We're going to switch over. And you can take it away whenever you are ready, sir.
I want to pull up that's not going to happen. Just a second, please. I need the PTF so I can get the large print out of.
You take your time, sir. Thank you so much for contributing. And I want to give a quick shout out. I see Jeff down there. I seen Shady Groove in the house too. Thank you guys for this beautiful family and home where we get to try to take back our government. So I attribute all of it to you guys. Thank you all.
Shady in the house.
The Town of Wytheville, Virginia Charter. The mayor of the town, or his absent or inability to perform, the vice mayor, in addition to powers heretofore granted them, shall have power to fix bail, take bonds, and pass upon the qualifications of sureties thereto in all trials or violations or ordinances of the town of Wytheville. The town council, by resolution adopted by the majority of its members, may designate such person or persons as it may see fit to issue warrants and search warrants, to summons witnesses, to fix bail, take bonds, and pass upon the qualifications of sureties, thereto, in all trials for violations of ordinances of the town of Wytheville. The council shall appoint a clerk, a treasurer, a town manager, and such other officers of the council may deem necessary or proper, all who shall hold office at and during the pleasure of the council, and shall qualify for their respective offices as required by law, and shall furnish such bonds as may be required by the council. Officers so appointed by the council shall perform such services, in addition to the services herein enumerated, and shall receive such compensation as to the council may provide.
That
All
was
contracts.
phenomenal, James. Thank you so much.
You want me to continue reading or
All
wait
right.
for your comments?
Let's see here. So again, yeah, I think we're good. If you're ready to go, man, you're the man, James.
It seems like it all fits together in one subject here. All contracts and obligations heretofore made by the council of the town of Wytheville while in office, not inconsistent with this charter or constitution or the general laws of this commonwealth shall be and are hereby declared to be valid and legal. The administrative and the executive powers of the town, including the power of appointment of officers and employees, are vested in unofficial to be known as the town manager, who shall be appointed by the council at its first meeting or as soon thereafter as practicable, for such term as the council may be by its appointment prescribed, but who shall be subject at all times to removal by the council on proven charges of malfeasance and misfeasance, neglect of the duty, or incompetency. He shall receive such compensation as shall be fixed by the council by ordinance, and shall devote his entire time to the business of the town. Town manager. The town manager shall be responsible to the council for the proper administration of all the general law or the ordinances or resolutions of the council. He shall have power, and it shall be his duty to see that all laws and ordinances are enforced, to see that such town officers and employees as the council shall determine are necessary for the proper administration of the town to be appointed, and to any such officers may be removed by the town manager, except the clerk, treasurer, and the clerical and other attendants of the council. But the town manager shall report each appointment and removal to the council at the next meeting thereof following any such appointment or removal, to see that all terms and conditions imposed in favor of the town or its inhabitants to any public utility franchise or any contract are faithfully kept and performed. Upon knowledge of any violations thereof, to call the attention of the same to the council, whose duty it should be forthwith to direct such steps as are necessary to protect and enforce the same.
That was a great job, James. Thank you so much, sir. I think you
Hey,
did
Zach, I have a question. It seems that
absolutely.
town manager, and it was the page before, with the bonds and I'm just reading this. The town manager seems to have an awful lot of power, and there doesn't seem to be anything said about any due process, or if someone's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, the town manager can just fire that person with no other input, or you know what I mean?
I absolutely do, and I think that's something we'll go over these couple slides pretty good. Eddie, Mike, can we
All
go
right.
back to number 8 and start there? And let's look at the council and some of the things that they're able to do. We already said they can decide on what they get paid. That's pretty cool. That makes sense now after going to the meetings and all that. All
Does
right,
it?
so here, yeah, that's see right down here, part 3. Shall receive such compensation as the council may provide. All right, for any positions. So they do, they get a 2/3 majority into the Board of Supervisors meetings, get everybody into positions through those votes, and through lack of participation on our parts, fill a couple of these positions. They can pick their pay. They can pick what they want to do with. We'll go up to the top and check it out. I mean, they're able to the mayor of the town. Let's go to town council. They're fit to issue warrants, search warrants, to summon witnesses, to fix bail, take bonds, and pass upon the qualification of sureties. There too, in all trials of violations of ordinances of the town of Wytheville. That's a pretty good amount of power, considering there's very little challenge to them. So with a council that's set up to do what they want, and a town manager that's been picked and put in place by the town council, because that's the only person that can really hold the town manager accountable, is the town council. So 6 people. With 6 people, we could literally pull quite a bit of weight in our community by determining what we get paid. That's fun. Bonds, warrants, search warrants. These are huge deals that I think we really have to get the people a little bit more transparent. I'm not saying that the policies are wrong. I'm just saying that the action and transparency between all of it is just kind of not where I feel comfortable. I don't think that they're doing a lot of this stuff. I don't think they're doing much at all. But the ability that they have, it's hard to tell what they're doing behind the closed doors when nobody's showing up at these meetings. Last week when I did my Board of Supervisors meeting, there was me and 2 other people there, so it wouldn't be that hard to get 6 people in these positions and just take over a county or a town's policy completely. Scary stuff, guys. Get involved.
Right.
So,
with law enforcement capabilities, if they're issuing warrants, I mean, with the makeup of the council, what kind of people? Just local citizens? Is it legal
yes,
people? Is it law enforcement people?
a little bit
Illegal
of all.
aliens.
No, none of that. They have to be elected by the people. So they'll do an election every 2 years. They serve 4 years on the seats, I believe. We have that in a slide somewhere too. But yeah, these are all, and it's going to vary too between my charter, because I'm a Commonwealth state. So my state being Commonwealth will have a little different policy on charter. They may just change some of the wording, but it's definitely stuff to look into. All right, guys, we're going to.
As far as pay, I think they should have no pay.
or leave it up to the citizens to vote on pay increases. Because if the council, if they're doing a great job, then they should get good money. If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's like it's like the employee determining what they get paid. That doesn't sound right. That should be up to the people.
You're starting to catch on, dear. And I'm so glad you're going to be here for the end of the show to kind of give a little testimony. Guys, these are things that I didn't realize either, man. These people, I've been going to these meetings for a couple years now. I've watched them fall asleep. I've watched them ignore all of the major issues I'm talking about and bringing to them, saying, oh my gosh, our house is on fire. What are you guys going to do? And I've sat for hours while we talk about roads, and that's their thing. And you'll see how the policy changes from freedom to managing your roads. We really kind of get distracted by the bigger picture by focusing down our tunnel vision to the littler complaints. So, Eddie, Mike, you're a couple of slides ahead. I think we're back on number 11. If you can step back just 2 slides for us. And I want to thank you, James, again, man, for the testimony last week on the show or the week before. It was it was last week's. Thank you so much, man, for attending, being here every week, getting involved, and setting the example. James has done a lot, and he's getting involved, guys. We got people out doing the walks now, talking to their communities. That's one of the best ways to show your passion for our country and getting people that same passion. So we have Knothead coming up to start on our slide 11, Town of Withville, Virginia Charter. I saw you down there, Knothead. Are you here?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Beautifully, my dear. And whenever you are ready, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay. Town of Withville,
I think we lost you, dear.
How about now?
Much better. You're back.
I knew it was going to do this. All right. The Town of Withville, Virginia Charter, Town Manager, B1, to appoint subject to confirmation by the council, the Town Sergeant. The Town Sergeant so appointed shall be subject to removal at will by the council or by the Town Manager, and shall qualify as provided by law and furnish such bond as may be requested by the council. C. To exercise supervision and control over all departments and divisions created herein or that may be hereafter created by the council and have
I think we lost you again.
I couldn't hardly hear her either, Zach.
We'll give her just a second to get things worked out. And everybody, we're bringing in beautiful guests. So thank you all for your patience and kind of just kicking it around with us as we're doing some learning. Knothead, you're doing a great job, dear.
I'm not sure where it cut off.
I think you're still on C.
Okay. So you want me to start with D then?
Sure.
All right. To attend all meetings of the town council with the right to take part in the discussion, but to shall have no vote. E. To recommend to the council for adoption such measures as he may deem necessary or expedient.
All right. Thank you so much, Knothead. And we're going to go over this one real quick, guys, before we get on to the next slide. So this is showing a little bit of the tier of power. We get back to the council having the ultimate oversight, the town manager electing the town sergeant kind of coming in and managing. So the town manager has oversight over the town sergeant, and the council has ultimate oversight over both. So again, a couple positions carrying a lot of weight and feeling, this could be considered, what's it called? I have a brain fart. I'm so sorry, guys. Checks and balances, with the different positions, having people who are there to the honest council managing the town manager who's trying to abuse his rights and overstepping the citizens, the assembly. So with a crooked council, it could escalate pretty quickly, it seems. All right. So he's not allowed to vote. He can recommend to the council for adoption of measures, but his policy is more boots on the ground and trying to do a little bit more of the managing of the smaller details. So the town, that'd be the town sergeant. All right, and I think Eddie, Mike, if you want to move on to the next slide, Knothead, if you're still with us, dear, whenever you are ready.
Okay. Is that any better? Am I still banning?
A little, but I think we're going to power through with you.
Okay. And just to add to that, the checks and balances thing, a power must check a power. I like that quote. So, the town of Woodville, Virginia charter. All right, the manager. F, prepares the annual budget and keep the town council fully advised as to financial conditions and needs of the town. G, to make all contracts in behalf of the town as may be authorized by this charter or the council or under continuing contracts of loans authorized under the provisions of this charter or pursuant to resolution or ordinance of the council. H, unless and until otherwise provided by the council, he shall act as town purchasing agent. I, to perform such duties, to perform such other duties as may be prescribed by this charter or be required of him by ordinance or resolution of the town council. J, except as may be otherwise provided by the council, town manager shall have and may exercise all of the powers and perform all the duties which are now or may hereafter be conferred upon or delegated to town managers after the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia, 1946.
All right. Thank you so much. And again, this is the town manager's duties. We're getting into a little bit more of the finer details of managing a town, hence the name town manager. He does the financial conditions and needs of the town, also kind of authorizes loans, contracts, and all of this has to go up being approved by the council from the assembly through the town manager. So his job really is limited unless, he's abusive with an abusive council. So again, we're going to keep on moving. We got a little bit more to go through. And I think, let's see here, we're on slide 13. Knothead, you are still on the board, dear. Are you ready?
I'm ready as long as you can hear me because it's banding a little bit for me.
Yeah, you're rubber banding a little bit for us too. So how about we get you on when you're a little bit more stable? What do you think about that?
That's fine. I want y'all to be able to hear me, so.
Oh, we definitely do too. So I'm going to take this one for Knothead. Thank you so much for stepping up and contributing, volunteering tonight. I think that's a big deal that we get everybody in and kind of interacting with us as we're going through all this boring information. And we'll get it ironed out. Again, everybody, please, your suggestions on different methods, different ways of presenting the information. I love ideas. We definitely are open to criticism. I don't think you're going to hurt any of our feelings. So please hit us up with some ideas if you have any suggestions. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one. Slide 13. Thank you again, Knothead, and all the other volunteers tonight. Town of Withville, Virginia Charter. Town Sergeant. The town sergeant shall have the same act, etc., to like penalties. He shall also perform such duties in relation to streets and waterworks of the town, and such other duties as may be required of him by the council. He shall especially see that all ordinances are observed, and he shall report to the mayor any violation of the same. And for any violation occurring in his presence, he may arrest for the same forthwith. Said sergeant may at any time, with the approval of the town manager, appoint one or more deputies, who shall perform the duties of the sergeant herein above set out. He or they shall hold office at the pleasure of the sergeant, the town manager, or the council, and shall be paid such compensation as the council may prescribe. How amazing is that? Really. So these, and again, in a beautiful system of checks and balances and an involved assembly, involved citizenship, this is a great system. When the people are more involved in other parts of their lives and not self-governing, this can absolutely be abused, and it is being abused. We're witnessing it all across. They didn't steal our nation through the federal government alone. They did it through our lack of interest in our local communities, guys. These positions are humongous. Town sergeant, town manager, town council. Again, everybody here is qualified to sit on every single one of those seats. Everybody here could also get the backing of your community. You're all good and informed individuals. I have faith that everybody here could sit on one of these seats and make a huge impact. So, Eddie, Mike, we're going to continue on. And everybody, if you have questions, save them up for after the show. We'll have a little question section. And we're all going to be bringing ideas up to kick around. So I'll have questions for you guys, too, in the future. We've got the next slide pulled up, and I believe Sailboats is going to be coming in and reading for us. And Sailboats.
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
5-5, dear.
Okay, great. This one is about the town treasurer. The treasurer shall be the collector and custodian, except as otherwise ordered by the council, of all town taxes, levies, license, and of all revenue and other monies of the town from water or any other source, and shall disperse the same as ordered by the council. He shall have all the powers vested by the state law in county and city treasurer, and shall be subject to like penalties. He shall make off all tax tickets and water tickets, and shall keep such books of account and records, and perform all such duties in relation to the collection and disbursement of monies of the town as may be prescribed by the council. And he shall make his settlements at the time in the manner prescribed by the council.
Thank you so much. And you'll have to keep your mic closed, Sailboats, when you're done reading, just so we're not getting a whole bunch of reverb. Guys, the town treasurer is a position that is probably inundated with details that are not quite par for what we're should be focusing on. If you look around your communities, there's probably millions and millions of dollars going to different aesthetic features of your community, whereas the citizenry is lacking a lot of the blood life force. So we're taking that money, and if you start looking through it, my town, I mean, after getting involved in stuff like this, man, I'm glad we're educating on all of this. The town treasurer is taking a lot of your money, your taxes, through things like your water. That there should be more creative ways to invest in our communities and help them prosper. And I feel like the town treasurer is one of those positions where we're able to do a lot of that. So getting to know them, mine is not a very big fan of me at all, and I hope to break some of that negative relationship and start seeing some constructive things be done in my community. We just invested in an Apex Center, millions of dollars, and bought a piece of land, developed this humongous dirt floor building for rodeos, indoor car shows, indoor races, and stuff like that. Super amazing building. It tanked within like 2 years. Taxpayers funded, built this humongous building. They tanked it within 2 years, and now it's being sold to a private buyer. All by design, all through shady paperwork, tax money, investment, and that's what they're doing, guys. All of that money could have been invested in a lot of other ways to boost our community. Instead, somebody just got a heck of a clearance price tag on a really, really nice building. Sorry, personal. But that's what we have. I mean, that's happening everywhere, guys. You have to get involved. You have to get educated, learn what these people are doing. So, sailboats, thank you so much for reading that. We're going to move on to the next slide for the town clerk. Whenever you're ready, dear, take it away.
Okay, this one is about the town clerk. The town clerk shall attend all meetings of the council, keep its minutes, preserve, and keep on file all papers pertaining to business of the town. He shall keep such books of account and any and all records which the council may require to be kept. He shall perform the duties of the commissioner of the revenue for the town, extend its assessments, make off and deliver to the treasurer annually at such time as the council may prescribe the land and property book or books of the town, assess all license taxes required by the ordinances, and report such assessments to the treasurer for collection. Keep such records of delinquent taxes as may be required by the council. He shall keep such records concerning the waterworks of the town as may be required by the council. And he shall especially issue permits to water takers. Keep a complete record of all water takers and of all contracts and permits, and shall furnish to the treasurer at such times as the council may prescribe a list of such water takers, with rates to be paid by each, an amount due or to be paid, whether by meter or flat rate, and he shall perform such other and further duties of clerk of the council as commissioner of revenue and in respect of the waterworks as may from time to time be prescribed by the council.
Outstanding job. Thank you so much, Sailboats. And I got to give her a quick shout out. She helps me, helps the team here with the slides every week. She puts a lot of beauty and lipstick on all of our blank canvases. So she makes all this very aesthetically pleasing. We love you, Sailboats. Thank you so much. And I kind of jumped the gun on this last one and went right into the town clerk. This one does go into it, the point that I was trying to make a little bit better. You know, you see how it focuses down on waterworks so much. Water being something that should be, you know, a back burner concern for the town clerk, in my opinion. I think that should be a basic right for all town people. But it is focused on as a big part of what the town clerk does. And this was all straight out of the green papers. You know, this is really what their definitions are. All of it kind of refers back to the same thing, managing the water. But when we watch the water, you know, as we've been told, look to what they're doing with it. It's all poisoned. You know, I hope nobody's here is drinking their tap water. You know, please filter it. But look at your town clerk and how much the context of their job position is warped around pumping this poison fluoride, chlorinated, brominated water into your homes. You know, it's just odd. I think that the town clerk should really be managing a little bit more than that, in my opinion. So, alrighty, guys, we're going to move on to the next slide. Sailboats, you're still with us, girl. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, and this one is about the town of Whitville, Virginia charter in general. So In addition to the powers elsewhere enumerated in this chapter and the powers conferred by the general law and the Constitution, the town of Wytheville shall have the following powers. Number 1, to raise annually by levy of taxes and assessments in said town, and all such property, real and personal, as is now or may be subject to taxation by towns by the laws of this Commonwealth, such sums of money as the council thereof shall deem necessary for the purpose of the said town, in such manner as the said council shall deem expedient, in accordance with the Constitution of this Commonwealth and the United States, provided, however, that it shall impose no taxes on the bonds of the said town. Number 2, to impose special or local assessments for local improvements and to force payment thereof, subject to such limitations prescribed by the Constitution and laws as may be in force at the time of the imposition of said special or local assessments.
That was outstanding, dear. Thank you so much. And just because this is my town that we're talking about, we just had a big tax increase, and on our property taxes, my personal property taxes went up 71%, and that is a pretty big number, 71. And I know a lot of people had very similar numbers. We had meetings there for about 2 months after the new tax assessments come out, and the town kind of gave us all a heads up and said, hey, man, it's going to be pretty bad. But people started getting involved. People started showing up to the meetings and saying, hey, they showed up for that one and done kind of deal. Came in, said, this is BS. Why did our taxes go up 60%? Why did our property taxes go up 55% this year? And, those are the things that they say here, to raise annually by levy of taxes, assessments in said town, that they have the right, to decide those numbers. And a lot of times, the legalese and the lawfare that we are waging with them, they can kind of work around the blunt truth of it all. So we really have to understand what they're meaning with their short sentences, responses. They're able to avoid a lot of responsibility without the transparency that we deserve. We have to start holding these guys accountable. And the people want to. I think there's a lot of folks in your community that are wanting and waiting on you to step up. Alrighty, guys. Our last speaker for tonight is going to be CrewdAwakening. Sailboats, again, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all your involvement here at the Grassroots Live. And CrewdAwakening is an outstanding patriot. She's got a little personal testimony. We're going to go over a couple more slides. And after that, I'm going to hit up the last ones, and we'll watch a quick 3 or 4 minute video. Then we're going to do a little personal testimonial from our lovely CrewdAwakening. All righty, ma'am. Whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me? Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So we're continuing on with the powers of the town of Whitfield. Number 3, to own, operate, maintain waterworks, and to acquire in any lawful manner in any county of the Commonwealth such water, lands, property rights, riparian rights, as a council of the said town may deem necessary for the purpose of providing an adequate supply to the said town and of piping and conducting the same. I'm laughing because it's just a lot of words to say that they're responsible for providing water. To lay, erect, and maintain all necessary mains and service lines, either within or without the corporate limits of the said town, for the distribution of water to its customers and consumers, both within and without the corporate limits of the said town, and to charge and collect water rents therefore. Also to erect and maintain all necessary dams, pumping stations, and other works in connection therewith, to make responsible rules and regulations for promoting the purity of its said water supply and for protecting the same from pollution, and for this purpose to exercise full police powers and sanitary control over all land comprised within the limits of the watershed tributary to any such water supply, wherever such lands may be located in this Commonwealth. Also to impose and enforce adequate penalties for the violation of any such rules and regulations, and to prevent by injunction any pollution or threatened pollution of such water supply, and any and all acts likely to impair the purity thereof. I think we all have problems with that. Okay. Powers of the town. The powers set forth in, I'll just call that section 15.1-837 through 15.1-907, inclusive of Chapter 18 of Title 15.1 of the Code of Virginia. It's a mouthful. As enforced on July 1978, and all other powers which are now or may be conferred upon or delegated to towns under the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth are hereby specifically conferred on and vested in the town of Withville, and no enumeration of particular powers in the charter shall be held to be exclusive, but shall be in addition to and supplement general grant of powers. A lien shall exist on all real estate within the corporate limits for taxes, levies, and assessments in favor of the town, together with all penalties and interest due thereon, assessed thereon from the commencement of the year for which the same were assessed, and the procedure for collecting the said taxes, for selling real estate for town taxes, and for the redemption of real estate sold for town taxes shall be the same as provided in the general law for the Commonwealth, to the same extent as if the provisions of said general law were herein set out at length. The said town and its treasurer shall have the benefit of all other and additional remedies for the collection of town taxes which are now or hereafter may be granted or permitted under the general law. Zach, you want me to go on to the next one?
Man, you're ready. That was a lot. That was a lot. I think we're good then. Let's see here. The number 19. Give us just a second to go over that information. Eddie, Mike, if you can step us back to slide 17, please, sir. I think there was a lot of information, guys, and I mean, it gets weird, right? Did anybody else find that kind of odd? 17, again, the water, why in the world, and I'm not saying watch the water in reference to that. I'm just saying why so much focus from the town clerk on something that if we were all living on wells, which here in the mountains we're 100% able to, the town could really focus a lot more on the prosperity of the town instead of such authoritarian control of the water. And in all reality, this is one of the gimmicks. This is how they've gotten us, man, is by controlling our water supply. There's nothing more important. We can grow our own food, but if we're not able to get our water, because they're shutting down our wells, that's a pretty common thing too. If you're on a well in a nice town like mine, they'll shut it down, say it's not fit for use, and so then you have to be put on the well or on county water. So it's just odd to me that there is so much focus on this when the product that we're getting shipped is not, it's really not suitable to water your plants with. I don't water my garden with water out of my tap just because of all the chlorine in it kills all your microbiology. So why did they sit and focus this in 1940s and sit and write out all these laws and all these positions for our town clerk, or context behind the position of a town clerk with such interest in water? just catches me off guard. Sorry if I'm on a tangent here, guys, but super weird. Eddie Mike, go on to the next one, sir. Slide
Question,
8.
Zach. I
Sure.
have a question, Zach, if I may.
Yes, Kathleen, go ahead.
Or do you want me to wait until the end?
Dear.
Till
Can
the
you hear
end?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you want me to wait until the end?
No, you can go ahead if you would like.
Or okay, like this booklet that you're sharing tonight, where did you get that?
I copied all of this information off of the Green Elections link. I'll redrop that, or not Green Elections, greenpapers.com link. And to get to it, Green Elections, scroll down to where it has all the states listed, abbreviated. Click on your state, scroll all the way down to the links at the bottom of that page, and you should have a Constitution option at the very top. That Constitution option is going to have your state's a Constitution, Bill of Rights. It's also going to have an option to choose, like for your counties. You pick your county. You can go through your county's laws and on down to the town. So that Green Papers, we'll keep going over it over the next couple weeks. But if you have issues with it, Kathleen, just let me know and I'll give you a walkthrough, okay?
Thanks. Because my question is, are most cities and like townships run like this on the water?
I would say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in my town, I'm on a water well, and this year we're being made to put municipal water in, and they're deeming it, I think we have 2 years to do it, and if we don't do it, it will be illegal to use your well water. And that just blows me away, because I don't want municipal water. I want my well water. I know what goes in it, and I know where it is, and I can get it tested. So it's happening probably all around, because it is part of Agenda 21 to take control of everything, and water is a major thing. Sorry to interrupt you, Zach.
Love it.
Fine.
Do you? Go ahead, Kathleen.
That's fine. I enjoyed hearing her comment.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you all for, your comments and commentary while you're reading and stuff like that. That's so huge. We're trying to make it fun here, because again, we're going over some pretty boring stuff, but I hope that everybody has kind of picked up on some of the major details that are hidden in all of this monotony. So taking a little bit of time, looking up your state, looking up your town, you're going to learn a lot about how they're openly controlling us. Water's a big one here, man. And if especially with what we know, but a normal person reading this would still be like, that is kind of weird, that they're so authoritarian about it. And so good feedback, Crude. I think that only validates my point. So very, very good point, girl. I appreciate you. And I think that, let's see here, we're on to the taxes lien. This is something that we all go over a lot as well. And we're not going to get into the details. If you remember the first video that we watched, the gentleman kind of said, we're not going to get too far into it because I can't be accurate. And I think that he was trying to imply that some of the manipulation and abuse of our Constitution, it can be pointed out in certain details, and he wasn't going to go that route because it could be challenged for being incorrect in certain, context. And that's how we have to get educated so that we know what we're doing here. All right, so for a lien shall exist on all real estate within the corporate limits for taxes. And so we're going back to that private property. I have the deed to my home. I have the deed to my land, but the lien still sits in the courthouse. And that's what gives the corporation, that's what gives my town the ability to continue to tax me after I own something, even though it's a violation of our rights, constitutional rights. So we're getting into the meat now of what the corruption is and how it's worded, how blatant it is, and how our knowledge of what we've all learned over the past little bit, we're starting to see through some of the BS here in town policy. I know I am. When I started reading some of this stuff, I was like, okay, I know where I can go from here when I talk to these guys. I know what I can start asking questions about and get them up against the wall and where they have to start answering. So I've learned a lot, guys. This has been a huge motivation for me to buckle down, focus on what they're doing, how they're doing it, and who's doing it. So it's given me a very, very good leg up and a lot of inspiration. I hope you guys can get it and take a lot from this little show we're doing here too. All righty, Eddie, Mike, I think we're going to go on. And the last slide that really has any good meat to it is going to be your precinct committeeman. We got one or two here. And I think that CrewdAwakening, you're still with us, my love, if you want to finish this one up.
Precinct committeeman. Did you know precinct committeemen are card-carrying members of a political party? They elect the party leaders and are in the best position to get out the vote with other precinct committeemen in their precincts. Right now, over half of the precinct committeemen positions are vacant in both political parties. If conservatives fill up all of the precinct committeemen positions in those parties, conservatives would own the party. And instead of that party being at half strength and ideologically split, it would become solidly conservative with conservative leaders and a full strength get out the vote ground game.
That was outstanding. Thank you so much. And we're just bringing up a little bit of the precinct committeeman stuff. I think we're going to start getting into this a little bit more over some of the next classes. There's not a lot of content. We got an open mic. CrewdAwakening, could you shut your mic, please? Thank you, dear. And so this is something I'm still doing some digging on, but I really wanted to go through some of the basics of the town first. Now, your precinct committeeman positions are through your GOP, and that is one of the deciders in who's going to be coming up as an elected candidate. And so the precinct committeemen are representatives of their precinct in a sense. So they do carry a lot of weight, and they are all open. If you went and looked in your community, probably the GOP doesn't even know what the term is, or they're just not advertising it to keep all those positions open. And so I think that is something that we all have to kind of do a little digging into our community. It was a good intro to get us started on some of the town information. But precinct committeemen is where we're all going to end up. You know, in this position, this is a small one. There's not a lot of paperwork to it. There's not a lot of regulations to it or requirements. Should be a simple one and done. We have James here. Greenfield gave his testimony on his precinct captain position he just recently got. You know, there's just a little bit of interaction with your community and stuff. This is a good one to get involved in. The town council, treasurer, those town sergeant positions, that's a little bit bigger step and a little bit bigger time commitment and details like that. So I hope everybody keeps all of these positions on the table. And if you're not able to commit the time and resources and things like that, talk to others in your community, family, friends, neighbors. Try to get somebody that is wanting to do a little bit of involvement to take on some of this weight. There's plenty of positions in your community that are sitting open right now. All right, Eddie, Mike, I think we're going to go on to the next slide. So to become your local committeeman, these are just a couple little tips. You can call your county Republican committee chairman. You can call your state Republican committee chairman. You can search online for your county Republican chairman, study the rules of the Republican Party, study your state committee rules / bylaws, study your county bylaws, study local committee bylaws, and study state precinct committeeman handbook. And a lot of this information is going to be listed in the your GOP. So you could literally just go to Google, type in my county, my state, GOP, and that should bring up a little bit of information. You may have to back that search up a little and just go from state and start from there. But all of this information is out there online, and I encourage everybody to kind of start digging through some of it and educating. There's a lot of resources. We're going to provide most of them, but definitely the initiative and the interest is going to carry you forward. We can't do it all. Alrighty, guys. Let's see here. We got one more slide, I believe, Eddie Mike. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the Q&A one. All right, we have nice, beautiful Q&A slide here, but that is from our sailboats, one of our readers tonight. I want to thank all of our contributors again. We had a lot of great Patriots volunteers, so many such that we're not able to even get everybody. And as we're transitioning over to the other platforms, we'll probably have to redesign some of the ways that we're doing this, going to people that have, a little bit better systems, a little bit more up-to-date technology, so that we can't just bring people on like we're doing on Telegram. We'll definitely have to adapt to a different platform. But I'm so grateful that we have so much interaction and volunteering from you guys. That really does make a lot of this fun and a lot easier on the team. So kudos to all you guys. Big shout out to Jeff and Shannon, who have stuck with us so far. You guys are amazing. We love the MG show so much. We got a quick 3-minute clip we're going to watch. This one should be a little bit better than the last one. So I hope you guys enjoy. And then we're going to have a testimonial, about 10 or 15-minute breakdown of from CrewdAwakening and some of her experiences. Guys, y'all enjoy.
I'm proud to be a Texan.
Me too, but I'm a McLennan County gal at heart.
I live in Waco, which I guess is also McLennan County. And don't get me wrong, I'm proud to be a Texan, but I'm a city girl at heart. All that county stuff is in the country, right?
Hold on there, Missy. Whether you live in the city or not, you're just as much a part of the county as anyone else.
That's right. And your state, your city, and your county all have important jobs to do.
Are you saying that we've got 3 governments running the show here?
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
What do they all do anyway?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's start with you, cowboy. We all love living in the Lone Star State, but the government has a limited purpose and scope. That's one of the reasons the legislature only meets every other year. When it does, it has to make decisions and laws that apply to the entire state as a whole. And it needs a local partner to implement its laws and policies.
So who does that?
I'm glad you asked. That's where the counties come in. They were created to implement state policies and enforce state laws at the local level. It's where the rubber meets the road on carrying out the state's priorities. You see, the county enforces the state's laws and policies. Counties provide services locally tailored to fit the needs of the local residents. And they can do this because they are run by the locals and connected to the people.
Yeah, but isn't the city even more local than the county?
That's a great question, one that I'm glad you asked. Cities are local and they provide services, but with limits and within the city limits. If you live in a city, they may provide things like water, electricity, and waste removal. Bigger cities have a police force, and the city may build certain streets.
Well, that sounds like everything I need. What else is there?
Well, I'm glad you asked. That brings me back to your county. Your county government fills the gap providing things that the state and city government do not. It provides law enforcement county-wide. It runs the court system. When there are bad guys, it keeps the jails where they stay. It registers voters and holds elections for everything from local government offices to the President of the United States. Counties keep track of records like deeds, birth certificates, and death certificates. Counties build and maintain about half the roads in Texas. The county provides health care to lower-income residents. It provides emergency management during times of crisis. And the county often collects taxes on behalf of other entities like school districts and cities. Are you getting the picture?
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Oh, so I get it. The county is actually the political subdivision enabled by the Texas Constitution to carry out state laws, but with direct and connected relationship to the people it serves.
Very good, city gal. Yes, you are Texans and may live in the city, but remember, you are also proud county residents, too.
Thank you, big voice in the sky.
Yeah, and do you have a name or something?
Well,
yeah.
Huh?
Oh, hey guys, it's me, Chet. I guess I'm just a guy who thinks county government's cool, and I thought y'all should know about some of this stuff. Anyway, see you later.
Okay.
Well, I hope you learned something, because
Texas counties deliver.
Hey. Oh. Want to learn more about your local county government and all it does for Texans just like you? Well, check out these videos or come over and visit at texascountiesdeliver.org.
That was fun. And I mean, and that's the content we're kind of going through. We got to make it quirky and interesting. So, digging around on YouTube and, some of the search engines, you'll see there's some awful ones out there, man. Oh my gosh. We've picked the creme de la creme here. And some of them come out pretty decent. I was very pleased with those guys. And the link to that YouTube page, I'll drop it a little later. But they have a ton of information related to Texas. If you live in Texas, that YouTube page is probably one to follow. And I would say be cautious. The video we just watched was from 5, 6 years ago. And I think it's a pretty neutral video. But some of the ones that I was watching from them that are a little bit newer were leaning towards, that leftist ideology. So just be careful. We're also dealing with information that has been manipulated over time and used against us. So, keep your discernment up, keep honing it, always questioning everything about the information that we're going over. Check resources, make sure you're learning the right information, because there's a lot of bad stuff and distortions of our rights out there. So that was about it. The slides, we went through all of them tonight. I think that's kind of what we're going to go for. We're into about an hour and 30 minutes, I guess, of the show. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, guys. We're going to spend the next 15 talking to one of our lovely patriots here. And every show, I hope to get somebody on that has really contributed a lot locally, or even a little, and they're talking about where they have been and where they see themselves going in the future in their local politics and stuff. So I think there's a lot to having on somebody to go over what they're doing, how it's working, and what they could do different. So, CrewdAwakening, are you there?
I am here. And Zach, thank you so much for this seminar that you're doing. It's wonderful, and you're addressing, I guess, a lot of the deficits in my own learning. So I can't wait to get off and look at the green paper site, because I'm interested in the information that it has. Now, I've been on the periphery for many years, just, working as a poll watcher or a poll worker in my local community. And I have been to different meetings over the years past. I'm not one for public speaking, but I'm learning how to do it little by little, and it's getting easier and easier. So for people that are, not good public speakers, or you're afraid you're going to sound silly or stupid or uneducated, I've been there, and I still feel that way. But if you don't go out there and give your voice, then we're going to keep getting the status quo. So I've been pushing myself. There's certain areas that I've been very passionate about. I'm very concerned about our children and what they're doing in school and what they're learning, and the critical race theory, and now the gender identity stuff, and the whole masking issue was a big thing. So I spent time going to school board meetings and just learning how they work, and it's pretty bad. It's in our particular district. right now we have an all Democratic school board, and it's sometimes it feels like we're banging our head against the wall, but certain people have connections, and we were trying to address the CRT curriculum in our schools, and we found out that the school district had a contract with Specific Education Group, which is the CRT people, and spending enormous amounts of money. And nobody found out about it until a couple of years after it was all started. And when we went to the school board meetings to find out how this all happened and what exactly are the PEG materials, they said that they couldn't share that because they had non-disclosure agreements, and they couldn't share the materials with us, parents who are paying school taxes. So America First Legal got wind of this and put in a request for information, and we were able to get the materials, and it is definitely the enactment of the CRT, and the materials are horrifying, and there's still more work to be done to get rid of it, but we're learning the players, and we're understanding how the school district hires now. It's very discriminatory. They'll only hire more progressive teachers. So we have a group in our group. I'm part of Neighbors United. We have people that are involved in elections, concerns about elections, and the school board, health and well-being. That came out of the COVID stuff and having to be masked, and the children being masked. It was horrible, and then you all experienced that as well. And we have a couple of other areas. We are connected to other groups. Tony Shoup's Audit PA, Audit the Vote PA, Moms for Liberty. I'm a member of Mainline Conservative Women, and now it's become Conservative Women of PA because it's gotten quite large, and that's a great thing. And I've been working with a friend of mine who decided to run for district rep, and that has opened up a lot of doors for me, helping her. Volunteering is the best way to be people, to get your face known, and to start being invited to different things. So I've been working with her for about a year. I'm hopeful, but we'll see what happens. I live in a very progressive, liberal area. But more and more people seem to be more vocal and are in support of my friend Sarah, so we're hoping. So with Sarah's involvement and the different functions we attend together, I've met Doug Mastriano many times. I also know the candidate we're running for against Fetterman, Guy Shiraki, and it's become a very warm and congenial group. Like, we all know each other, just name recognition and being at the different events and just helping. So that's been very great. Right now, I'm focused on the elections. I'm going to be doing the Dropbox watching through the county commissioners. You can sign up for different trainings for being a poll watcher, a poll worker, a Dropbox watcher. And last spring, I went to the county office where they open up the mail-in ballots and saw how that all works. And been going to county commissioners meetings. Very angry that I was notified by a group, and we're not sure who it is, but a group went through our voting rolls and found they happened to look at voters who are consistent voters, and then looked at 2020 and saw, I think it's 40 to 50 people that I'm aware of now who have been notified that their ballots weren't counted. I filled out my ballot. I put the ballot in the scanning machine, and on the county records, it shows I didn't vote. So I've been going to the county commissioners meetings. The last one, I absolutely lost my temper. The commissioners just sit there and they look at you, and they're watching their watches, and they keep interrupting your conversation and waiting out the time. But I just kept speaking over them, and was not as kind as Zach was. I think Zach has a better approach when he goes to these meetings. But I got angry, and I wanted an answer. I want to know what happened to my vote. And don't tell me that if I scanned the vote, it counted, because it didn't. And they can't, there's no method in my county of identifying which ballot was mine. So there's no way to pull a ballot to see what happened. And I find that really odd. How can a ballot not be tied to a voter? So they can destroy your vote or your ballot, put in another one. Who knows? But I'm tired of it's their responsibility. They're supposed to be making sure that the elections are clean, and they're not. We have a majority, as I said, Democrats on the county commissioners, and they have no interest in pursuing this. So I lost my temper, and I told them, this is what they're paid to do. This is what they were elected to do. And I don't want to come back next time and still not have an answer. And, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't think there's going to be an answer, because the leader of the 3 commissioners, after that meeting that I had, went to meet Joe Biden. I guess she's looking for a better position. So she's not going to move on any of the election fraud. The group that goes to these commissioner meetings, we have pointed, I was able to talk about Connect thanks to MG. And what we learned, I went to another seminar that David Clements gave, where he talked about, when they test the machines, there's certain algorithms that allow the vote to be accurate, based on the ballots they put in. But if you ask them to do another 100 ballots, they're not going to do it. They refuse to do it. That's because the algorithms are set to do funny business after, the 100 ballot limit. So there are lots of things that I'm learning. There's lots of things that you begin to smell once you keep going to these kinds of meetings. I'm excited about the green papers and looking into the bylaws and finding out who's responsible for what, because this can't be allowed to keep happening. I know about the surety bonds. I know with the school board, it's been very difficult to trace the owner of the bonds or the company that issues the bonds. And Shady had brought up, I think it was you, Shady, may have brought up something about the bonds in your lecture. And I just forgot all about the county commissioners. There was fraud. We did during the May primaries, we had cameras out in front of the drop boxes, and we have that recorded, and we presented it to the county commissioners, and you get no response. So I don't know what happened after the meeting, but we're on them, and we're going to keep on them, and we're going to keep going back. So I'm working on that too. So, I'm handing out signs. I go to events. I donate where I can, and we're connecting with other groups within the state. And what I started doing recently is with our local newspapers. It's called The Patch. It's a very liberal-leaning, sensationalized kind of newspaper, and I started rebutting different replies. And now other people are doing that. And it seems that there's a majority of us conservatives that are speaking up on these platforms, the paper platforms. And it's a really good thing because people are getting really excited about the election. And just get involved, volunteer, even if it's just one time, addressing postcards or, manning a phone center. There's so many things that need to get done. Call any campaign that you're interested in working, and there's always something to do. And it could be a one-shot deal, or you could do it more than that. But it's just so important that people show up. You got to show up to the school board meetings. You got to show up to the county commissioners meetings, because people in number become a lot more intimidated. So that's kind of a rundown of what I've done. I have an email list. We have a Signal group. So I take a lot of the stuff that I learned from the show and other people that I follow, and I'm giving it out on our Signal channel, and people are picking it up and getting involved. It's great. It's just a wonderful. I don't feel helpless, and even though sometimes I feel hopeless, I know there's always hope as long as I'm doing something. As long as we're all doing something, there's hope. And I'm looking forward to looking at the green papers, because I need to learn about my local, the township laws and bylaws, and I just learn about it. I was very involved with, the federal politics. I didn't really understand local politics, and for some reason, I just thought the federal was more important, but it's not. It's real important. So I'm focusing my efforts more locally. And as I said, meeting great people along the way. So I'm thankful for the show, and I'm thankful for all the people that have come into my life by, I don't know, divine intervention. It's just a really wonderful thing. And we got to do it for the next generation of kids. So on that note, unless you have any questions, I'm good. And the approach that I would like to try next time, and if it comes out okay, I'll send in the video to Zach, because just watching your presentation, Zach, was an eye-opener for me. You went in, you identified problems, you were not emotional, you offered solutions, and you had a very nice, respectful manner. And they couldn't help but, I think, respect what you had to say. So I think that was a great example of how to go to a meeting and present something. Even if it's 5 minutes, present something, because your presentations will improve as you go along. So that's my experience.
For that CrewdAwakening. That was phenomenal. I really appreciate all the feedback. And that's what we're doing. We're documenting your experiences so that a year from now, we're able to go back and play your take on what you were doing and where we were at that time in mindset, effectiveness, community. Then, comparing it to what we're going to be doing. I can't wait, man. A year from now, James gets to look back at the first show, getting sworn in, precinct captain. The same thing for you. It's just what we're doing here in the early stages of all this is really just laying a little guideline that we can look back to before we were trained, before we were honed, and effective. And I think that just coming on here every show and having somebody talk about what they're doing and some of the things that they've had issues with, some of their triumphs, I think it's beautiful. It gives it a personal touch, and it's going to give us a lot of good content in the future because we get to play your next one, and then we get to play another one a year from now, and then compare them and say, look at the effectiveness of this method versus this method. And it's not nobody's where we're going to be. Nobody. I plan on all of us being super warriors on God's battlefield for truth. And there's a lot of stuff to do, guys. We just went over all the positions that you all can get into. Everybody here is qualified to do. We're going to do a lot more educating on how to get there, but there is a spot for each and every one of you in your communities that needs your attention. And what we're doing is trying to get all of you involved and into that position. So feedback is 100% appreciated. Any criticism, any suggestions, we want them all. DM me or the producer, best producer in the world outside of Wed Yeti, Eddie Mike. He's amazing. And I want to give a shout out to all the wonderful people who participated tonight and read for us. Thank you for CrewdAwakening for all that lovely testimonial at the end of the show. And shout out again to Jeff and Shannon for the love and the foundation and all their hard work, man. We can't be here without them. Much love, Patriots. I think we're going to be closing out here soon. And we'll have a little time open for questions, but we'll probably just open the floor and outside of the context of Grassroots recording and just go over questions, in a normal format as we usually do here on Telegram. Thank you guys for tuning in for the third episode of Grassroots Live. Best producer in the world, Eddie Mike, other than Wet Yeti. But we love you guys. Thank you all for being here tonight. I think that's it.